really busy week the last couple of days, especially the last couple of days. Thursday we had Bernie Siegel, who gave an exceptional webinar. There were pictures that I thought I had seen, all of his pictures, but I saw pictures I had never seen before. Wasn't that amazing, Sherry?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Especially with the picture that the anorexic lady drew. I was like, wow, of course. So much about the mind that we need to understand. Anyway, then last night we had a class on inflammation with the Australian team, which went well, except for a few technical blunders. I think I'm probably with my computer. Then today we're talking about antioxidants. Now, inflammation and free radical damage are really connected. So what we're going to do is that we're going to try and just show you how everything works and understand why it's so important. Why it's so important for us to understand free radical damage, because that in some way or the other forms the basis for most disease processes we go through. That's my cue saying here we go. I think I'm already recording, so I'm fine. All right, understanding how antioxidants work. That is our class for today. And as always, it fits into one of the three core principles, the three things that we believe everybody should have some level of understanding on. And it's right down there at the bottom, the third point, which is it comes under the threats to our health. So few people are unaware of the things that are out there and the things that are inside us too that could cause damage to our health. And because people are unaware, they do not on a daily basis do the things that help to protect their bodies and protect their minds from these threats. And the problem is, as you grow older, these things build and build and build and build and build. But the good thing is that your body has so much more potential that we give it credit for, that it doesn't matter how late you start. Now, you may not always recover completely if you're like an 80-year-old as opposed to a 20-year-old, but it is always possible to get your body, get your cells, your tissues back on track, so that they, in turn, will help you to live a decent life without pain and without discomfort. So, again, yeah.
What should we be seeing on our screen?
Iceberg.
Okay. It started to, there we go, we just now saw it.
Oh, great.
Okay, so just heads up, there's a little bit of a lag this morning. That's just due to probably some internet issue beyond our control.
Right. Well, will yours be faster?
I doubt it.
You don't think so, huh? Okay, if I start to go too fast again, let me know.
I will.
Okay, thanks. What you're seeing on your screen now is the proverbial iceberg. We all know that when they say tip of the iceberg, it basically means that, well, the problem in health terms or in disease terms, it means that the problem that you're experiencing, whether it's pain in your knee or your knee joint or your neck or your elbow, is just probably less than a tenth of what is really going on inside your body. And so, in a way, we have to be thankful for these pain signals, these discomfort signals that we get in our bodies, because hopefully it should alert us to begin to do the things that we need to do to regain health. And in many cases, that has been the only thing that has made people discipline themselves to change their lives. So sometimes we're grateful for pain. All right. Tell me when you got this one, the next one. You still don't see it yet.
Not yet. Last time when you were switching, there we go, we just saw it.
Oh, boy. Okay, this is going to be way too slow. Please type in, if you have your PowerPoint. I think we don't have too many people here. So you have your PowerPoint slides, don't you? If they all have their PowerPoint slides, I can just go through it, and then you can just look at it. So just real quick, folks, type in yes, no, if you have your PowerPoint slides.
if you got the handout with the email that has the handout in it is what we're asking. So in the question and answer box, let us know. I'm not having anybody. Okay, I've got a no, a yes, a yes. You'll just need to, David, about 10 seconds before you're wanting us to see it. Just advance it.
10 seconds? Oh my God, that's like an eternity. Okay.
Do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, David, it's about half and half. So, so kind of like what he's saying, refer to that in case there's quite a delay on your slides, and he'll try to advance them as early as he possibly can.
Okay. All right.
So we should be on wisdom of the body.
All right. Your body wants to be well, and it wants to be healed, and it will do everything within its power to attain that end. And folks, I was thinking about this one day, and I was thinking, I mean, this is so true. Your body is going to continually strive to maintain balance, homeostasis is what we call it in medical terms, to balance out your hormones, balance out the minerals in your body, your calcium, phosphate balance. That's a very important balance that needs to be maintained. The bone balance, how much of the bone is being absorbed as opposed to being destroyed. There's a constant. It is a highly complex thing that goes on in your body. But here's the thing. When you compare your body, which is a machine, a biological machine, with a regular mechanical machine like the car, for instance, if a car has a problem, if it has like 2 or 3 or 4 different problems, let's say there's a problem with the batteries, or there's a problem with the electrical system, there's a problem with the gear system, for instance. If you take to the mechanic, each of those things has to be taken care of individually. If one of the 4 isn't taken care of, your car may not run. But here's the thing which is so fantastic about the body. The body, because everything is so interconnected, that even though there's a problem with a certain area, the rest of the body can marshal its resources to help deal with that problem. Let's say there are 4 different problems you have in your body. If only one of them is taken care of, let's say there's a lack of a certain hormone in your body, because your body has so much more potential, it can actually gather itself together and help compensate for that problem. Machines do not do that. It's the body that can do that because of the intelligence or the wisdom of the body. Now, of course, there's a limit to what it can do in terms of compensating, but it just has that much potential. So and I think that applies even more to this whole question of antioxidants, because so many people, I mean, I remember when I was back as a doctor, and people, this antioxidant craze just came out, and people would have all kinds of problems, and they would just take massive doses of vitamin C and vitamin E, which are very powerful antioxidants. And they would take massive doses, and then they would, whatever the problem was, they would claim that they got better. Now, of course, the problem wasn't just free radical damage. There must have been other problems to it. But because free radicals cause they hinder so many parts of your body from functioning. For instance, they hinder your immune system, which is very key in the function of your body. Once the free radicals were taken care of with the use of antioxidants, for instance, the immune system, the different cells in the body were now able to, I mean, the burden was off them, so they could actually take care of certain issues. So it's what I'm trying to say here is that if there's one problem, attack it. That, in a way, helps to solve other problems, too. Same thing with life, too. If you're depressed because maybe you got fired from your job, well, you go back home and you have a loving family relationship, that will help to some extent take care of the stress you feel from being fired from your job. So life is interconnected, and that's what I'm trying to bring out. And we're talking about antioxidants today, and I'm switching the slide right now. Let's see how long that will take. Why study free radicals and antioxidants is the next question. I'm going to move on to the next one. Statistics. Okay, do you see statistics now?
Yes.
No. Okay, all right. Well, basically, what I mentioned yesterday with the inflammation class, folks, was that almost every disease can be traced back to inflammation. And inflammation, we talked about yesterday, was basically your body's natural response to injury or to damage. But inflammation alone, before inflammation happens, like we just mentioned, it has to start with insult or injury, and the insult or the injury many times is due to free radical damage. We're going to show some pictures that we showed yesterday, and so you can understand what we're talking about. So basically, we have the top 4 or 5 diseases. Heart disease is number 1, cancer number 2, strokes number 3. I think diabetes is further down, number 6. Accidents among men is somewhere there too. But most of these problems are due to some extent to injury that has happened over the years, and many of that is because of free radical damage. So why do we have to understand antioxidants? Why do we have to understand free radical damage? I have this slide up here saying 73% of all premature death is due to oxidative stress. I'm going to explain what that means in a couple of minutes. Oxidative stress is another term for free radical damage. And Dr. Lester Packer, are you seeing that slide now?
73% we just saw.
Dr. Lester Packer is the world's leading authority on antioxidants. He's for over 30 years he's been working on this whole issue. He's written a book called The Antioxidant Miracle. The Antioxidant Miracle. You need to write that down because I don't have it on my slides. And there's a huge amount of research on antioxidants, so very, very important. So, again, the parts we're dealing with now are with the understanding the threats to our health. And I have this picture up here again. Remember, we had a class on defense, and we kind of looked at all the different things that affect our body. And this is my Tiger Woods picture because of the red shirt and everything else is black. Well, he does need a cap, right? I didn't know how to draw that in this kind of outline, but basically you get a picture. And basically what we're trying to say is that, as we all know, we live in a hostile world. There are threats to every human being as he walks along the street. There are tremendous threats. And how much toxin is out there? Well, estimates show that over 7 billion pounds of toxins are released into our environment every year. That's a huge amount. And this doesn't even account for the more than 70,000 synthetic chemicals not yet tested for toxicity. And here's what it is, folks. As technology advances, as we develop easier and better ways to make our lives comfortable and more enjoyable with technology, with the computers and cell phones and all that good stuff, we are not keeping up with the safety measures and whether or not these things are toxic. We're not coming anywhere close to keeping up with the advances in technology. So if you're not even aware that these things may pose a problem to your health, well, you are way behind the 8 ball, way behind, because they are damaging your body as we speak. So if you're not on a daily basis putting in good nutrition, doing the things that build strength, not just prevent. Personally, I don't like the word prevent because it's very passive to me. I believe in building strength, and that's why our webinars are called that. We need to, because we're putting stuff in where it's like a bank account. The more money you have in your bank account, the more you can deal with emergencies as they occur. If our bodies are being bombarded by toxins, you can bet yourself that your cells, your 60 trillion cells, are being bombarded by toxins. And there are different categories of these toxins. There are biological, chemicals, heavy metals, radiation. And the last one there, I have rogue cells. That would include cancer cells and autoimmune cells, which destroy your body even further. The reason why rogue human cells occur is because the first four, were not taken care of. These things accumulated in the body and eventually caused mutations in the case of cancer cells, or miscommunication in the case of autoimmune diseases. So, well, we need to be aware of these things. Obviously, there's some things that you just can't avoid. I mean, who's going to stop using the microwave? Who's going to stop using cell phones? These things are there. However, There's now technology that can actually dampen out the rays that come out of cell phones, and I use one of them myself. It works very well for me because I injured my ear, racquetball again, I ruptured my eardrum, and I'm very, very sensitive to cell phone radiation. If I put a cell phone to my ear, I feel I get a headache immediately, especially even I get pain in my ears because the damage from the ruptured eardrum is still lingering. And so as soon as I heard about these patches that you can put on cell phones, that actually nullifies it. So I put it on my phone, and I don't get that headache anymore. And that's just me because I'm a little bit more sensitive. But whether you're sensitive or not, you are still being bathed in these radiation, the radiation from cell phones. Okay. So here they are. And now free radical damage would probably fall into number 2. The chemicals. Now, remember, most drugs actually cause free radical damage too. Chemotherapy for cancer, especially, the way it works is by releasing free radicals, which hopefully destroy the cancer cells. But again, they also destroy the normal cells. So one of the reasons doctors or oncologists shy away from letting patients use antioxidants is because they feel that it's going to counter the effect of their chemotherapy. However, you want to ask a question?
No, I just said, wow.
Oh, okay. Well, however, there are studies that show that when you use good quality antioxidants, now we're not talking about the fake ones or the things you just pick off the shelf without studying or researching them. If you use good quality antioxidants, they have found out, and these are cancer nutritionists and cancer doctors have found out that the good quality antioxidants actually protect. They're very selective. They protect the normal cells, but they increase the damage that chemotherapy does to the abnormal cells. Besides that, when they protect the normal cells, and the immune cells are part of the normal cells, when good quality antioxidants protect the immune cells, well, the immune cells can in turn work better to destroy cancer cells. You need the strong immune system to be able to do what it needs to do against the cancer cells. And most, unfortunately, many oncologists do not take that part as seriously as they should in terms of strengthening the immune system, because the immune system is their greatest ally in the success of the fight, in the fight against cancer.
So, David, are you saying that somebody's having to do chemotherapy and they're on a good quality antioxidant, that it will help their body more effectively cooperate with that treatment?
Oh, no question. No question at all. That's why the Cancer Society many times has advocated the use of take lots of fruits and vegetables. Of course, that has its own problem again with sometimes infection in the fruits and vegetables. But they have recognized that fruits and vegetables are your number 1 defense, nutritional defense against cancer. The only problem, again, too, other than the infection that can cause, or the contamination that comes with fruits and vegetables, is that these fruits and vegetables no longer have the kind of nutrition and antioxidant power that they used to have decades ago. So it's not enough. It is just not enough. We must supplement. There's just too much information out there to prove that we need to. All right, here you're looking at a picture of a fortress, I hope.
Yes.
Okay, so our job is to ensure that this fortress the integrity is maintained as much as possible. Ways you deal with toxins, I have a couple of ways there. You can get that from your notes. All right, let's try and understand why how to stop free radical damage. And I have this slide up here called the parrot. Now, what is the longest living bird on the planet?
Is it the parrot?
Yeah, good job, Sherry.
I'm really sharp this morning, huh?
You're good. You're really good. All right. The parrot lives, in some cases, lives to be over 100 years. Is that amazing or what? Over 100 years. Really is. And one of the reasons, and people have studied this, is they have studied why that is so, and many of them, many researchers are pointing to the fact that the parrot partially because of its feathers and its plumage. The chemicals that make for the different colors of the parrot's feathers are actually stocked full of phytochemicals. Phyto means plants, of course, chemicals, which confer on the parrots significant antioxidant protection or significant free radical protection. Now, what does that mean? Basically, the parrot is long-living. Many researchers contend the parrot is long-living because, or lives a long life because it has large amounts of antioxidants in its system. So therefore, we can automatically deduce that the key, one of the keys to long life, is protection from free radical damage. All right, we're going to talk. If I don't cover the questions, please ask your questions as we go along, because we really need to understand the basics. How free radical damage occurs. Next slide is, hopefully there should be a picture here. You're looking at a picture of a cell with a nucleus right there in the center, the blue nucleus. Are you seeing that, yes?
We just switched back to the basics.
Ooh, okay. All right, I'm going to keep on talking, but we're looking at a cell now with the yellow center and the cell. Now you can see these devilish, these cells. These are not cells. I'm sorry. These are free radicals. These reddish, circular things with the horns on the both sides of the head. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So, and right around you have the cell. You can see the cell membrane. Now, free radicals are released both within and outside the cell. Free radicals form in your daily life because your cell is like an engine. The same way a car is an engine. It produces energy, but at the same time, in the process, produces waste products. The waste products, many of which are free radicals. If those waste products aren't taken out through the exhaust pipe, or if they are not neutralized by the cell, if they accumulate, they're going to cause damage to both the inside of the cell and the outside of the cell. And you see this this particular free radical here, it's very close to the nucleus. The nucleus, we have found, receives about 10,000 hits of free radical damage per minute or per hour, whatever it is. It's a large number. If that is not controlled, if that is not curtailed, this could eventually result in a mutation in the nucleus. What happens when there's a mutation in the nucleus?
Well, whatever can't be good.
Oh, it can be good, that's right. Well, eventually it could cause a mutation in the nucleus, which could cause cancer, because that mutation many times is permanent, and then the cell begins to divide and form cancer cells. Also, you see some free radicals here on the surface of the cell. Remember, the cell membrane is the brain of the cell. If there's damage to the cell membrane, it will affect the functions of the cell. So free radicals are not good. Now, a quick analogy, a quick parallel here is that the brain, the human brain itself, is really susceptible to free radical damage. And that is one of the reasons why, that's one of the causes of the basis behind Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, because free radicals are released in the brain, and if the body doesn't have enough antioxidants to deal with those free radicals, it will eventually succumb and eventually break down. And therefore, it is very important. Now, estradiol, one of the estrogens, is the most powerful antioxidant that the body produces. And again, like as you grow older, you produce less and less of the estradiol, especially ladies. Men have an advantage because they can convert testosterone to estradiol, which will help further protect their brains. So in other words, bottom line, you need phytosterols to enable your body to produce more of the estradiol, which in turn will protect your brain. Very, very, very important. And of course, you need other antioxidants too. So again, free radical damage starts with the cell. If the damage is significant enough, it affects not just one cell, but affects several cells. And then the body takes notice, and when there's significant damage and the body takes notice, inflammation occurs. And that's what we're showing here are actual pictures of cells in the body. This is a photo. These are actual photos of microscopic photos of cells in the body. The healthy cells are the roundish cells with the concave parts. And I'm going to move on to the next one. This shows a lot of cells that are damaged by free radicals, and you can see those spikes on the surface of the cells. Remember, free radicals damage the cell membrane, and when the cell membrane, the outer smooth surface is destroyed, then it could take all kinds of terrible shapes. And it's not just the shapes we're worried about the function.
David?
Yeah.
So free radicals damage an individual cell, but then can a damaged cell damage a healthy cell?
Unless it's cancer. If it's cancer, it can begin to if it's a cancerous cell, yes, it can begin to damage other normal cells. But free radicals, no, it does damage the cells. What the problem with cellular damage is that once it happens, it can trigger off the inflammatory process, which we're going to show in a minute. If that triggers off the damaged cells, send off signals which are picked up by the immune system, which now sends immune cells, which further release free radicals.
Okay.
Help deal with the problem. So it creates a cascade that is many times ends up in chronic inflammation and chronic disease if it is not well controlled. So in a way, yes, damaged cells can cause damage to other cells in a more indirect way. All right, so I'm trying to explain what free radical damage is, and here's a slide I put up here. Uncontrolled free radical damage could lead to cellular and eventual tissue injury, which could eventually lead to chronic disease, or to cellular mutations and eventually cancer. I'm going to go on to the next slide. I have a picture here of how normal inflammation occurs, and I showed this picture to them yesterday. And at the very top there is insult or injury. Insult could be from chemical toxins, or it could be direct injury from a cut or a wound, trauma, so to speak. Whatever it is, inflammation happens. Again, inflammation is your body's natural way of taking care of damage or insult or injury. And inflammation goes up. So if everything goes well, the problem is suppressed. And then life goes on. We repair, we heal, we recover. Hopefully, that's what happens. But if it doesn't go right, and I have a picture here showing that, hang on, let me see. I think probably I missed one that was, hang on, man. Okay, that's right. Pardon me. If everything goes right, if it goes wrong, I have another picture showing what happens when it goes wrong. And you can see way up at the top there. Are you seeing abnormal inflammation?
We're seeing abnormal/chronic inflammation.
Good. So when suppression does not occur, and that's where you have non-suppression in black, it eventually forms chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation causes, well, both things. It causes a continuous cycle where more white blood cells are coming to the site. They're releasing toxins, trying to destroy the problem, but they've gotten all confused, especially if a person has a toxic body in the first place. The person is more full of toxins. They should be. I mean, and that comes from the diet and comes from the lifestyle. Smoking, for instance, really releases a lot of free radical damage. If the body is toxic, it's going to cause releasing a continuous or result in a continuous cycle of inflammation, injury, some repair, but not as effective as it should be. And eventually that also could result in mutations as in cancer, neurodegenerative conditions. So when you want to deal with inflammation, you have to start, first of all, with protecting yourself against free radical damage. And if you don't do that like you should, we have problems in the body as you grow older. Hip surgery, knee surgery are becoming the rave in the medical field, orthopedic field now, because everybody, that's like a rite of passage now. The person who I wrote my book with, he just had a hip replacement. He can now talk. He has a story to tell. Thank God he didn't get MRSA in the hospital, but at least he's got a hip replacement. the fingers, the elbows, the hips, the knees are the commonest sites. That's what you notice. However, the problem is this: like with the iceberg situation, we already notice those problems, but we don't realize that what is happening in your knee, for instance, is happening in the smallest organ, the smallest tissue in your body. But especially it's happening also in the most important organs in your body, which would be the brain and the heart. Whatever, if there's inflammation because inflammation happens in every single blood vessel in your body, and your brain, of course, has blood vessels. So inflammation or damage due to free radicals, which eventually leads in inflammation, could constrict, could cause damage to the blood vessels, which eventually could cause blockage. And once there's blockage to blood vessels in your brain, the nerve cells die out. Your brain is the least tolerant. Your brain is the least tolerant of lack of blood flow. It can survive no more than 4 to 7 minutes. If you cut off supply to any part of the brain, you have irreversible damage to nerve cells. Now, I say irreversible for the most part because most people don't know what to do about providing their bodies with what it needs to overcome or to reverse that damage. So for the most part, you will have irreversible damage. Okay? So of course in the heart too, the coronary vessels which supply the heart, inflammation occurs there. Remember, inflammation starts with free radical damage for the most part. So it is key, it is extremely important to deal with free radical damage. And here's Barry Sears. I recommended this book last night, and here's what he says. Keep in mind that the day you stop fighting inflammation, and remember, you fight inflammation by fighting free radical damage. The day you stop fighting inflammation is the day you start accelerating the aging process, along with all the chronic diseases that come with it. But inflammation is a good thing, so it's you have to encourage good inflammation and discourage bad inflammation. Without inflammation, we would be sitting ducks for opportunistic organisms and injuries to our bodies that would never heal. And you saw that picture we showed up there. Let's talk about oxidative stress some more. People use the example of rust on metal. If you leave rust outside, the culprit is actually oxygen. Oxygen that we need, that we cannot survive with, is a two-edged weapon. It can cause harm and it can cause damage. And another example is when you cut open an apple, leave it there for a couple of minutes and it turns brown. That again is due to oxidative stress. The oxygen in the atmosphere is reacting with the nutrients in the apple, resulting in damage. A couple of things. It is the oxidative stress. It is the principal cause of premature aging, the principal cause of premature death. It's linked to 29 health conditions or more. And cancer or heart disease are included in that number. Okay, and we have a couple of things in this slide, the next slide, that show how oxidative stress happens. Quite a bunch. I mean, look right there, exercise. Exercise that we think is good for us. Yes, it is good for us, but it also releases toxins. And think about it this way again. Your cell is an engine. It's a machine. If the more it works, or the more intensely it works, well, the more it produces free radicals. I mean, the more it produces waste products. So people who exercise a lot need to take even more antioxidants. I'll tell you another kind of group of people who need to take a lot more antioxidants, people who are heavy set, who have a lot of fat in their bodies, because fat, again, is extremely susceptible. Fat tissue is extremely susceptible to free radical damage. So if you're overweight, you need to take more free radicals. I'm sorry, you need to take more antioxidants.
David?
Yeah.
I was actually reading something about people who are losing weight, and sometimes you'll hit a plateau, and they were saying that antioxidants can actually help break through a plateau, because sometimes your body quits losing weight because it became too toxic, and it knows if it loses more weight, it'll be too toxic, and you up your antioxidants, and for a lot of people it helps break through a weight loss plateau.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because remember that toxins are stored in the fat. So if you, and the reason they're stored in the fat is because they're stored there to keep them away, keep them tucked away somewhere so they don't cause damage to the rest of the body. Now, if you begin to lose fat, those toxins have nowhere to hide, and they're going to be released into the system. So your body, in a way, is acting as a protective mechanism. It's saying, well, fat is not good, but I'll take fat over having lots of toxins in my body. So if you can provide the body with antioxidants to neutralize those toxins, then you can go ahead and lose the fat. Then to allow you to lose the fat. So that's a good point you brought up. Smoking, of course, a couple of other things. Okay, what can you do? Because that is always the bottom line. You can have all the information in the world, but if you don't do anything, it's not good. You're still not going to be better off. And of course, you start doing stuff by getting information. The intelligent, straightforward, easy to implement information, which is what we are all about. Protect your cells. To protect your cells, you need to have antioxidants. Americans are getting approximately 50% less antioxidants from their food than had been previously estimated. It could be less than that, folks, because with 90% of people eating processed foods, those have lots of free radicals. The chemicals that are used to preserve those foods, they cause a lot of damage themselves. I remember when I had my back injury and I went to my chiropractor, and he said one of the things that he recommended I stop doing was eat processed foods and just stay away from any of those fried foods because he said that's going to affect the healing of my back. Did I listen to him? Well, most of the time I did. Once in a while I didn't. And really, when I didn't, you probably won't believe this, but when I didn't listen to him, I went ahead and ate, when I had a burger, for instance, or fried food, I could actually feel the pain within minutes in the exact place where I had my back injury.
Wow.
I could feel the pain. It was like that place was actually reacting to the bad stuff I was putting in my body. So, again, those chemicals that are in our junk foods actually release free radicals that cause further injury and further damage. Okay. We need fruits and vegetables. All right. As always, we want to talk about the general principles, because you just don't say, okay, this is what I need to do. I just need to cram my body full of antioxidants. And yet you have a lifestyle that is not supportive. So we have to start with the fundamentals, the general principles, to lay that foundation upon which you can build a superstructure of health. We just can't get away from the basics. And this is the picture that we always show. And, of course, it starts with your mind and your emotions. Emotional stress, yes, can release free radical damage. And if you have not enough antioxidants in your body, it just provides for a cascade of major problems. The four bases. We're going to focus on number 2, nutritional supplementation. One of my favorite quotes by Roger Williams, the giant in the field of health, giant in the field of nutrition. The human body heals itself, and proper nutrition provides the resources needed to accomplish that task. Proper nutrition is not complete without antioxidants. Well, one of the problems we don't have good nutrition is because even with those who actually have a balanced diet, even with the 1% who think that they're getting a balanced diet, one of the problems, of course, many of the problems are the farming practices which result in soil depletion, green harvesting, long shipping time, processing of food, and cooking of food. I have a slide here that actually shows what happens when food is cooked and how the different vitamins and different minerals are depleted as food is cooked. Of course, frying is even worse. Dr. Nugent actually recommends that you never eat fried foods. I don't know how many people can follow that, but it will be a good policy to follow. So cooked food. So even with cooked food, you are depleting yourself, and carrot is the greatest victim of cooked food. Okay, cooking your food. Let's talk about the nutrients we need: water, Water is, of course, the number one, most important. We can't survive more than, I think it's about 3 or 4 days without water. That's again, folks, it's not just, I mean, don't think that because you're taking sodas and you're taking orange juice and coffee that you're taking enough water. Studies show that you get less than 50% of the water content if you take it as a soda or coffee. Coffee actually dehydrates you further because it causes the release of, it makes your kidneys excrete more water. So 84 ounces is what a brain specialist says. The general rule is take half your body weight in ounces, which would be if you're 120 pounds heavy, you take 60 ounces of water. Good policy to follow. Good idea is just take as much water as you possibly can throughout the day. Essential vitamins. Vitamins C and E especially are very good antioxidants. Very, very important. Essential minerals for proper immune function, cellular function, essential amino acids. These help to repair whatever damage free radicals do to your cells and to your tissues. Essential fatty acids, especially for inflammation. With the class on yesterday, we'll focus on what these do to minimize inflammation to your body. Of course, sugars and glyconutrients. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. But phytochemicals. Remember we said a couple of weeks ago that phytochemicals this is a burgeoning field in medicine now. As we look into other cultures around the world that have been known for having their favorite herb or plant that has helped to heal them from many of the diseases that they would otherwise have died from. And most of these phytochemicals have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. That's really why they've been so effective. And these phytochemicals could be things in turmeric, for instance. Turmeric is an Indian food that is very powerful anti-inflammatory. It also has some antioxidant properties. Amalaki is also an Indian plant. Mangosteen in the southeast, Eastern Asia, very powerful. It has the xanthones, which have the powerful anti-inflammatories. And in Australia, the Aborigines have the Australian bush plum, which probably has the highest amount of vitamin C of any plant or of any fruit. That again is a strong antioxidant. So phytochemicals, very, very good for detoxification. Of course, the French have their what?
Red wine. Red
wine. There you go. Okay. Didn't I have something on glycogen? Okay. Let's talk about glyconutritionals real quick. Most of you know these slides, the big eight different sugars. Well, the studies have shown that these 8 vital sugars actually raise glutathione. Glutathione is one of the key, most important antioxidants, and it's produced only in the cells. It raises glutathione levels in healthy tissue by 20% and protected against depletion of glutathione by 50% when subjected to direct toxic chemical assault. This was a study done in the lab. So it's an indication of what can happen in your body, but not a very strong one. I mean, it's a strong one, but it doesn't mean that's exactly what's going to happen. But bottom line, your cells can produce antioxidants if given good nutrition, which has good quality glyconutrients. Antioxidants. Let's talk about antioxidants. Very important. What is it? It's any substance that can delay or prevent the oxidation of biological compounds. And we mentioned the cells produce free radicals, bacteria produce free radicals, viruses produce free radicals, and of course the toxins, radiations, and all that. So we always have free radicals in our bodies. Antioxidants are what can help protect against those things. Diets rich in antioxidants are associated with decreased pathological conditions. Antioxidants are abundant in fruits and in veggies. How do you protect yourself from oxidative stress? And of course, we have a couple of things over here. I'm going to skip on to the next slide. All right. Here's the problem. Once people understood, or once marketers understood that antioxidants are good, they flooded the stores with antioxidants. Most of them really don't work that well, and I'm going to give you a list of what we consider to be the perfect antioxidants and what makes, in your choosing a good antioxidant, the things you need to look out for. So many of the problems that antioxidants don't work are obviously the lab technique, the techniques they use in the lab are just not that rigorous. They don't pay attention to detail like they should, and some of them are just selected for only one aspect. Their manufacturing and handling methods deplete the activity of the product. For instance, if there are some antioxidants that should not be exposed to the environment at all. I mean, you have to have a very controlled environment when you're protecting these, when you're creating these antioxidants. Well, we know that many nutritional products are created in the backyard or in the garage of people, the garages of people who just want to make a quick buck. Well, obviously that is not a controlled environment. Therefore, you cannot produce good antioxidants from that. Sources of the best antioxidants. And we have a map of the globe here, and have places on the maps where antioxidants are, where they have plants or herbs that have a good, strong amounts of antioxidants. You will notice that North America is lacking in most of it. Some parts of the Amazon, too, they have the acai berry, which is, I mean, many of you have probably had a lot of junk mail with acai berry, the cleanse thing, and how is the biggest thing since sliced bread. Oprah, of course, has helped publicize that and show that the fruit is a berry that is in the Amazon jungle, and they found out that it has some beneficial properties, antioxidants being one of them. All right, green tea, Japan. Japan, by the way, I think it still has the longest living people in the world, and as a country. Now, there are different cultures or tribes that actually have people who live longer, but as a country, the Japanese have the longest living. And they eat a lot of their food and a lot of their diet contains foods that support them. I think I got in the news recently that, is it Japan or China now? They're making a law that you have to be a certain weight, and that if you don't reduce your weight, you'll be fined.
Wow.
So that, imagine that. They should do that in the United States, huh?
Yeah, that like bicycle helmet with control.
Yeah, no, this is much worse. Yeah, actually, they're going to fine you if you're a certain weight, if you don't do something about it. All right, how much time do we have? Okay, next slide. All right, here's what we consider to be the perfect antioxidant. It has to work inside and outside the cell. Remember, we said free radicals are released both inside the body and outside. I mean, inside the cell and outside the cell in the extracellular fluid. We call it that. It has to be able to protect against both. It has to be both fat and water soluble. Some parts of the cell are fat soluble, other parts are water soluble. It has to have a high ORAC score. ORAC means oxygen radical absorptive capacity. That's the big thing now they want to use to test which antioxidant is strong. It simply means how much of the free radicals can this antioxidant absorb at any given time. The higher it is, the better, the more effective the free radical is. The more effective the antioxidant is. Excuse me. Now, some antioxidants work as very strong, very powerful. They get into your system real quick. But that's all they do. They just spike. So if your body isn't making use of them at that minute, the minute they get into your body, well, they're soon going to be excreted from the body, and so they won't work like they should. So they should not only be able to increase the level of circulating antioxidants in your bloodstream, but they should last for a reasonable period of time so that your body can use them, use the antioxidants when it needs to. Obviously, there's no one antioxidant that will last the whole day. But the longer lasting it is, the better for you. It also should be easily absorbed from the GI tract. Many of these antioxidants we have in the body, on the shelves, many of these antioxidants, excuse me, are not easily absorbed from the GI tract. Some are actually destroyed by the digestive juices in the GI tract. So you have to watch out for that. whatever antioxidants you choose, you really have to ensure that you've studied it well and it covers all those different issues. Here's what Dr. Lester Packer, the man who wrote the Antioxidant Miracle, who is reputed to be the #1 leading authority in antioxidants research and free radical research. These are the 5 he recommends. He says these are the top 5 antioxidants. Now, vitamin C, water soluble. Remember we said there are different kinds, water soluble and fat soluble. Glutathione, the main intracellular antioxidant. Vitamin E is fat soluble. Now, vitamin E is one of the most important for your heart, the most important antioxidant for your heart. Alone, it won't work as well. You also have to have the mineral called selenium to work with vitamin E. So you need to remember that. And that's why it's so important to have a good quality vitamin mineral supplement that combines those vital nutrients in a blend that your body can readily absorb. Vitamin E alone will not work as well. CoQ10, remember we said CoQ10 is it's not just, it's an antioxidant, it's listed as an antioxidant here, but also it is extremely important for the proper functioning of all muscle tissue, including the heart. We know that by the time you really get to about 60, 65, you have 72% less CoQ10 in your body than a 20-year-old will. And therefore, as a result, your heart is just not as strong, will not be as strong as a 20-year-old's will. But supplementing well with CoQ10, you have a better chance of having a good, strong heart. Lipoic acid, he says, is the most powerful. One reason it is the most powerful because it is the only one that has both fat and both fat and water soluble. Unfortunately, most manufacturers don't even have lipoic acid. I mean, they have the others, but they don't have this one, which is the most important. I mean, it also goes along with my theory that the things that are essential, the things that are vital to our spiritual survival, our mental survival, our physical survival are not being taught mainstream. I mean, to me, it's just being proven over and over again. I mean, imagine that. The most important antioxidant is not even on the shelves. Oh boy, how do you explain that? And of course, I want to also mention that it is very important, the phytosterols. I don't have them here, and I probably should have. But phytosterols, which would be the plant sterols that help you produce things like estradiol, help you produce things like testosterone, help you produce growth hormone. And no, growth hormone is a protein, excuse me. But those plant sterols, if you take adequate amounts, and remember the average, let's see now, you should have at least 40 grams of plant sterols a day. In China and the Southeastern Asia, people get about 80 grams of sterols a day from their soy, from their diet. And that helps to protect, first of all, it gives your body the building blocks it needs to create those key hormones that can act as antioxidants like estradiol. The other thing it does, that it also these plant sterols also help your body balance out the endocrine system. And remember, balance is the key. If your endocrine system is out of whack, it will result in your minerals, your vitamins being out of whack too. So endocrine system needs support. This website basically has this really cool table that goes through about 10 or 15 antioxidants. It says what they do, says where they can be found, the plants they can be found, or the foods they can be found in, not just plants, but animal foods. I would strongly recommend you to go there, copy that table, and maybe make a sheet of it and put it on your wall there somewhere, or just keep it for your records. Very, very, very important stuff. This is an underscore here, so don't forget that. Back to our slide, the PNI slide. Remember, for good protection against free radical damage, you need to support the entire system rather than just picking and choosing. In summary, we're going to go to questions in a minute. In summary, folks, disease problems all start with the small damages, the small injuries to your body, to the cells of your body. If you can start and control things at the cellular level, you stand a greater chance of controlling things, of preventing and living a life that is free of pain and free of suffering for the most part. Any questions?
Let's see. Yes, okay. Is there a danger in taking too many antioxidants? And I did send everybody a little chat message. If you would like to ask a question, go ahead and type it in the question area. But here's the question. Is there danger in taking too much antioxidant?
There are some people who have said it. I personally do not believe it. I believe that there is that much danger. Maybe you may not have as much benefit. There comes to a point where you don't have that much benefit. But if it's a good quality antioxidant, folks, you may plateau out in terms of quality, what it provides for you. Because here's the way I think about it. Is there a danger in taking too much fruits and vegetables? Hardly is.
Right.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Or just you almost can't eat enough to get too many.
True. And of course, there's a danger in taking too much of anything. Probably have to listen to your body. But if it's a good quality antioxidant, I think there isn't that much danger.
Can you repeat the website for John Pratt?
Was that a question or yours?
It's a question.
Okay. All right. There you
go. Okay. You must have done a really good job this morning. We're not having a whole lot of questions come in. Let's see. I'm thinking of the studies published in the journal, the JAMA, that vitamin A causes cancer. Yet others say that when vitamin A is in a food matrix, it cures cancer. So can you comment on vitamin A causing cancer versus vitamin A when it's in a food matrix actually curing cancer?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's A or E that the study. I know there's a study on E too. I probably wouldn't do a good job of this, but here's what we found out. Then there's a lot of controversy on all these things. Of course, there are different sides to the whole question, but those studies that showed that that vitamin A causes cancer, they probably were introducing other factors in the equation that they probably were, whoever the person that they did it with, either they used excessive amounts. I remember anything and too much of anything is bad. They probably were using excessive amounts of vitamin A, probably a low-quality vitamin A, which had its own impurities, which in turn, those impurities could cause problems in your bodies too. So I am very skeptical about such studies. Again, I'm not an authority, so don't quote me on this, but I doubt it.
Okay, when you were wrapping things up, giving your summary, you said if you control things at a cellular level, ... Can you finish that? The person's asking, did he say that it stops inflammation and then the body functions properly?
Well, I didn't say it stops inflammation, but yeah, I didn't say it then, but yes, it does stop inflammation. If you control injuries, if you control those small little problems. There's a scripture in the Bible, I think it's King Solomon's, the Song of Solomon. It says, it is the little foxes that spoil the vine. It's those little things that you let get past you. A small inattention here. You don't take your supplements or you don't take good food for about a week, and you don't get back. You don't get back and replenish it. if you let anger or depression linger for too long. It's those little foxes, those small problems that you think, oh, it's not a major thing. You get fired from work and you get upset with everybody in your family, and then it just cascades. It's those little foxes that if you don't control when they're small, when they're in seed form, well, they're going to grow into become a huge tree, which makes it extremely a lot more difficult for you to take care of.
Yeah, that's one of the things, David, I've appreciated what you've said just in a variety of areas about you can't afford to let those little things slip past you.
Right.
Good.
Right.
Okay, what information do you have on the effectiveness of, I'm just going to spell it, tocotrienols versus tocophenerols?
Yeah, boy, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Remember, folks, I am not a dietitian. I am not a nutritionist.
Well, I may just be botching how I'm saying it, but tocotrienols versus tocophenerols.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
Remember, these webinars are not to give you detailed information about different food groups. They're basically a foundation for you to go out and do your research on your own. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, looks like you've answered all the questions. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And hey, folks, next on Thursday, we've got the world champion public speaker, I think Toastmasters. He won, I think, 2001 among 25,000 people in 14 different countries, and he nailed them. And he has founded the Humor Institute. His name is Darren LaCroix. He founded this Humor Institute, and he is deeply into humor as a way of healing the body and helping you get the best out of life. He has written a book called Laugh and Get Rich. Supposed to think and grow rich. So Thursday it's going to come up. We're going to send you the emails, and please blast it out to other people because it's going to be good information. Next week, Saturday, is Aging Gracefully. That's going to be an interesting one. All right. You guys take care. Be strong. Have a great weekend. God bless.
Thank you, David.
Okay.